I hope you don't mind if I do this in English. If you do mind, this will conclude my presentation. I think they're going to get another 10 seconds here on the tech, and then we'll get started. All right, I'll get started anyway, because I don't need slides for the first part. As mentioned, I'm the Chief Business Officer at Snap Inc. I've been at the company for just a little over a year, and it's been a truly extraordinary year. One of the things that is most interesting about the company is that I did not necessarily intend to join it. I didn't realize I was having a job interview. I got a call on a Thursday morning in October of last year, saying, Evan Spiegel would like to meet with you. He's heard your name a couple of different times and just would like the opportunity to have a discussion. So I was living in New York at the time, but I was in LA, as is, and Snap is based in Los Angeles. And I got the call on Thursday when I happened to be in Los Angeles. And they said, when are you going to be here? When are you going to be in LA next? And I said, I'm here today and tomorrow, and then I won't be back for 3 or 4 weeks. And they said, okay, great. Can you come in tomorrow? So the next day at 5 p.m., I went in to meet with Evan. He's an extraordinary CEO. There were a couple of things that really resonated with me. The first of which is our values, which is going to be the crux of the dialogue that we have here today. I walked into the reception area, and right behind the receptionist, it said, be kind, be smart, and be creative. And I found that all 3 of those words were just so resonant with me. They were the things that I had felt were most true and near and dear to me in terms of my career and how I was able to succeed in some different areas. So kind, smart, and creative. It's how we think, it's how we design the app, it's how we think about privacy, and how we think about our community, and we'll talk about all of that today. So I went up, I had the opportunity to meet with Evan. What was meant to be a 1-hour meeting turned into a 3-hour meeting, where we talked about everything from macroeconomic conditions facing the world, to the app itself, to advertising sales, and monetizing through advertising. Keep in mind at this time, Evan was 28 years old. He's a founder of one of the most successful tech companies in the world. And I've worked in media for 21 years. So I'd been working in media only 7 years shorter than his entire life. So it was a really exciting conversation to talk about it from his perspective and from mine. At that moment, he said, I think you should work here. And I said, I think so too. So what I didn't know was a job interview turned into I think you should work here. That ended Friday night at 8 p.m. On Saturday, they offered me the job. On Sunday, I accepted the job formally. On Monday, I resigned from Amazon. On Tuesday, I was casually escorted out of the building at Amazon, and I started at Snap on Wednesday. So it was quite a journey to get here, a very, very brief journey. But when something feels right, it just feels right. There are a couple pieces of the organization for which I'm responsible. One is the revenue side of the operation. I'm responsible for all the advertising sales teams, including our team right here in Tel Aviv, where we continue to invest in the region. The other side of the team is actually what I'm going to talk about most today. How many of you have been in a dialogue around privacy online in the last week? Pretty much everybody, right? It's definitely a huge topic. It's really important. And one of the things that's really unique about Snap, and where I feel so privileged to have the role that I have, is not only am I responsible for the revenue organization, I'm also responsible for our trust and safety operation, our customer operation, and a lot of the things that we do to keep our community safe on the platform. Just the fact that the same person is responsible for both of those things within our company already means that we're different. Oftentimes, the revenue part of the organization is making decisions that could put the community at risk. That is not the case with us. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we think of safety and privacy and why that is so important to Snap. At our core, we're a communication device, or we're a communication app. If you go to the left side of the app, it has all the chat features, it has all of your friends. There's some little things about privacy that you wouldn't necessarily notice unless you were an avid user. The first of which is that we don't have profile pictures. We have Bitmojis, these little cartoons that you'll be seeing pop up here. I like country music, that's why mine has a cowboy hat. And we have Bitmojis. So you can't just scroll through endless lists of people to see if somebody's good looking or is somebody that you might want to add as a friend. Friendships on Snap are bi-directional, and it's communication at its core. But what do we mean by communication? It's not just text messaging, although that's a feature as well. It's what we consider to be talking with pictures. Talking with pictures is really important because if you think about the fastest, the best way to communicate a moment, and we'll show you some examples here in a bit, it's usually visual. It's with a picture. Everybody has heard the saying, a picture says 1,000 words. And we believe that, and that's how we design the app. It's what we call human-centered design. It means that this is the way that people want to communicate, the way that they want to emote, and the way that they want to share a feeling with each other. So when we say talking with pictures, what does that mean? It means that if I'm here in this conference and it's difficult to put into 2 words with all my thumbs exactly how I'm feeling at this moment, if I just took a scan of all of you looking at me, very few of you are on your phones, so I feel good so far, looking at me, then that would convey that much more quickly. How many people are communicating on Snapchat? Well, we're pleased to be a growing audience. We have 210 million daily active users worldwide. We're particularly strong in the US, in Western Europe, and in areas such as this, as well as your surrounding communities. 210 million and growing. It's very exciting to see. We just finished an Android redeveloped the Android app from the ground up, and so we're seeing a lot of growth worldwide from countries such as India and areas of Indonesia. I know a lot of you work in export business, that you're amazing creators of incredible games, of incredible fintech products, and we have the ability to reach your customers and your future customers worldwide. In the US specifically, Snapchat reaches 90% of 13 to 24-year-olds. We're their de facto communication device, and we take that very seriously. We are going to talk about privacy, we're going to talk about safety, and this, frankly, is the true reason why. This is when minds are being developed. This is when people are working on their self-esteem. This is when people are making friends, having their first relationship. And we realize that a place where they feel comfortable to be themselves is the most critical thing that we can provide for this community. But it's not just up to 24. Another US statistic, which I'm putting in because I know a lot of you like to reach the US audience, is that we actually reach 75% of 13 to 34-year-olds. One of the things that's so exciting about that is a lot of the people that are on the older side of our demographic, they've been with us since the beginning. It's a highly retentive app. People who joined the app 5 years ago, of those people, 95% of them remain with us today as monthly active users. So we're very excited to see these numbers continue to grow as people continue to use the service. There's been a lot of talk about privacy lately, and that's the crux of the dialogue that we're going to have today. So what does privacy mean in a social environment? What does privacy mean when people have their phones in front of their faces and a picture can be taken at any minute or things can be shared? It's very, very complicated. It's all the talk in the industry right now, and it concerns all of us. We actually believe that it is not just our responsibility, but the responsibility of all of you in the room, the responsibility of all of our peer companies to keep their customer privacy at the forefront of everything that we do. So how do we build our product and our business to accomplish these goals while still continuing to provide excellent targeting, excellent performance on our advertising? It's complicated. Privacy in digital is complicated. No one of you would define it the exact same way, and you wouldn't define it the same way that I did. But we look at it, as I mentioned before, through human-centered design. And what that means is, do people feel private? Do they feel like we are taking their data and using it for things that they don't want us to use it for. They don't. We're open, we're honest, we're transparent. You can go immediately into settings in the Snapchat app to see exactly what targeting segments you're in, and you have the opportunity to toggle them on and off. One of the examples where this is critically important is something like dating. You might be in a dating segment, you might get a really great ad, you might download the app, and then you might get a boyfriend. And then what? Are you still in the dating segment? Hopefully not, for your boyfriend. So you can go in and you can turn that toggle off so that you're not in the segment. We give our customers complete control. And frankly, that is not that complicated. It doesn't have to be that hard. If they can go in and choose their segments, things that they're interested in, and turn them off as things change. Same thing with travel, for instance. You might be in market for travel, and then all of a sudden you're not. You get those choices. But most of the solutions thus far in our industry have been technical in nature. GDPR was great, but it only got us partially there. I don't think I'm alone when I say that I have just clicked the accept button every time I'm traveling around the world, even if the terms and conditions are in a different language. So is that really solving anything for the customer, or is it just taking a technical solution and making it at the forefront? We don't know. We are GDPR compliant, but we go beyond that. So for us, again, we think about it as something human. And these are some humans that use Snapchat daily. With no audio. All right, I will click past that because there's no audio, but this is a representation of something that's really important to us. It's a best friends communication device. There aren't reasons to accumulate masses and masses of followers. We believe that it's a place that people come to express their true selves. And in order to express their true selves, they need to feel comfortable and confident that we are being responsible with their data. Because of that, we've been private by design since the beginning. People feel free to be themselves. We do not have public likes or comments, and we never have. This is one of the areas where we're so proud to be innovators. As you likely all know, a lot of other companies are moving to this right now, where there are no public likes, where something you post, you're not judging yourself based on how many people liked it. And what that does is also and there's no way to comment, and there's no way to forward, and if somebody takes a screenshot, then you know, and it's ephemeral by design. They disappear, the pictures disappear, and it gives people the ability for them to be themselves. Imagine if you were having a regular conversation. If you and I were in a conversation right now, and I knew that everything that you said was going to be recorded and posted on a timeline in posterity, that would change our conversation. And that's what ephemeral and disappearing messages are, why that's so important to Snapchat, is that it mirrors real-life human communication. So at first when it came out and the messages disappeared, people thought to themselves, well, that's weird, that's different, what could people use that for? And the reality is it's just meant to mirror human communication. What we're left with after a conversation is a memory, not a picture that you took 1,000 times to make it the most beautiful picture of all time, but a memory of the dialogue between me and you. In order for that to be true, it has to be private. These are two best friends communicating on the app without saying any words. We have these fun lenses. We have ways to make this different dialogue.
You don't usually get a lot of people to know the true you.
She has a huge loving heart, and that's what's special about her.
That's our worldwide advertising campaign, celebrating real friendships. It's silly, it's irreverent, and people can be themselves. The companies, not just Snap, but all tech companies, to help solve this problem. So there are a couple of things that we're doing in this space to make this better so far. We really believe in focusing on things like more privacy, on bullying prevention, on youth safety, and on real news. Evan, our CEO, was recently interviewed by CNBC in the United States and was asked what we do about political advertising. We do accept political advertising, but we fact check all of it. We're very proud of that fact, and we think it's very critical, just given the age of our audience, that they are able to get facts, that they're able to understand what their vote means, not only for a candidate, but for political issues. And so while some companies are on one side and believe it's not their place to fact check, and other companies are on the other side and say that they've opted out of political advertising entirely, there is a benefit to this type of advertising, which educates people. And I promise you this, you can fact check all of the ads. We have human fact checkers, we have AI fact checkers, and it's really important to us that our community trusts what we're putting in front of them. In addition, we've partnered with the best-in-class safety experts in the world, with different coalitions that help us with every feature that we design. We run it through our privacy council and say, could there be a problem here? Is there an issue? Is there a way that bad people could do bad things? And we have worldwide experts ensuring that every feature that we develop on Snapchat helps keep it safe and private. And it is centric to the entire experience. It gives people the opportunity to communicate the way they want, in the fastest way to communicate, which isn't just about speed, but it's about not taking all the words in your head, squeezing it through your vocabulary, then squeezing it through your thumbs, and then communicating with your friends. It's quicker than that. We made people comfortable expressing themselves by giving them these filters, these lenses, something that makes them feel fun, the way that they can communicate and express themselves. We use playful technology like augmented reality to ensure that that experience is successful. And then here's another one that's really fun. We help people express themselves with Bitmoji. Bitmoji is a fun company that we acquired, and one of my favorite things about it is that it shows how you can say different things in different ways. These are 3 different ways to say I love you. It's one of the most common phrases in actually all languages, but really different use cases for each. On the left, or on this side, I guess my right, here is me talking to my dad, which is just I love you. In the middle, Mel is my assistant, and I am grateful for her for every minute, and that's a different kind of love you. And then for my very best friends, my brunch club, I love those guys. And these kinds of pictures, think how fast this is relative to explaining the different types of I love you. We've removed a popular feature. This is something that's really important. We had a feature called Best Friends. What Best Friends did was that it showed people who were the top 3 people that you communicated with. And what happened was that people stopped feeling comfortable communicating. If you had a crush on a girl in class, you wouldn't want to message with her too much, because then people would see that she was one of the top 3 people that you were messaging with. And that was a blocker for communication. That was a blocker for privacy. And we removed that feature, even though it was highly retentive to our behavior. And one of the things that's really important for companies like ours, and like all of our peer companies, is that we make hard decisions. It was one of people's favorite features, and it were other people's least favorite feature, and we had the fortitude to get rid of the feature. I'm coming at time here, so I want to wrap up quickly by talking about our focus on private, intimate friendships. Friendship on Snapchat is 2 ways. It's not just one way. You can't follow me unless I follow you back. We can't have a dialogue where you can just subscribe to my channel. We have to be real friends, and real friends are private together. It's something that's ongoing. Privacy is important for all of us. We continue to iterate every day, and it is with the help of partners like yourselves that we continue to get better, that we take feedback, that we design everything in the app with privacy centered in mind. Within the walls of the company, we call it privacy centered design. Every decision we make ensures that people can have the very best relationships. I'm so grateful to be here. This is my first time in Israel. I had the opportunity to spend the day in Jerusalem yesterday, and it's extraordinary to see how much of the world has evolved from this amazing place. And I look forward to hopefully making real and true and private friendships with many of you in the room. Thank you for having me.